Today's a good day to die. Oh shit, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Hey guys, and welcome to my world. So yes, I do love my Snapchat filters at the moment. They do have some good ones sometimes. It's a good day to die. Or it's a good day to talk about movies. Now, I have recently reviewed Blade Runner 2049. If you haven't seen that already, it'll be linked here and in the description below. I did do a double bill that day, and the second movie I saw was the recent Flatliners. So let's talk about that. So yeah, talking of Blade Runner 2049, this movie review is going to be very, very similar to that movie review. It really is. So Flatliners, I've never seen the original. I haven't. Just like Blade Runner, I've never seen the original. And you're going to have some aspects of both movies that are going to be positives and negatives. It's a very similar movie review. It feels like it's deja vu. It's deja vu for me. So Flatliners is a remake of the original that came out in, I want to say, 1990 maybe? It came out in the 90s. Was it 1990? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 1990. But yeah, this movie is basically a remake of that, and it's sort of about 5 med students what are investigating into sort of the afterlife and the effects of the afterlife and what happens after death, stuff like that. So they basically run an experiment, an illegal experiment, a shoddy one if that, of basically killing each other and bringing them back. So they basically flatline everyone, bring them back and everything, and they basically analyze the results of what happens in the brain, the chemistry, what happens in the synapses, all that. They record it and everything like that. And basically, when they come back, and they do come back, they bring, well, shit hits the fan. They start getting haunted now. It's very ambiguous. You don't know if it's actually a ghost. You don't know if they're hallucinating. The movie leaves it very ambiguous for you. And stuff like that. But for this, the purpose of this review and it being a horror movie, I'm just going to refer to it as haunting. Because they're basically being haunted, whether it's by themselves, ghosts, whatever. They're being haunted. So yes, their shit hits the fan. They're being haunted regarding their guilt that they feel towards sins they've done in the past. That is the plot of Flatliners, and it's something that really does intrigue me. Now, the afterlife, all that sort of stuff has intrigued me ever since I was little. Stuff like that, I love that sort of stuff. I studied psychology and everything like that, so I've learn all about near-death experiences, all that sort of stuff, out-of-body experiences. So this sort of stuff does really interest me, and the concept alone, I really buy into. So, I wasn't even looking forward to this movie, to be fair. I saw the trailer, yeah, okay. I saw the trailer and I was like, it looks alright. The concept did really intrigue me. And then it came out, and they only had, my cinemas near me, I only go to Odeon because I've got Limitless cards. So my cinemas had one showing of Flatliners a day. So, and it was always 4:15 and I was always busy. So, and then one showing came at like 9:30 at night. I was like, yes, I can go see it. And so I went and saw it. Okay, I went and saw it. And I was very, very apprehensive because I was like, one showing a day. Is this movie going to be terrible? And I was surprised. So guys, let's get into my positives and my negatives. You probably know what's coming if you've seen my Blade Runner review. But let's talk about Flatliners 2017. Positive 1, Nina Dobrev. She is so hot. not going there. We're not going there. We're not. We're not going there. Next positive. So the acting in this, for the most part, was actually quite good. It really did surprise me because I thought this was just going to be a cheap, very jump scare fest of a horror film that had a concept that was not executed well. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. So the acting in this really did surprise me, specifically from Ellen Page. She was very good in the movie. I want to say Diego Luna. I want to say that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was quite good. And then the other, I don't know the actor's name, but the guy with the blonde hair. I actually really liked him. I thought he was really good. So the acting, for the most part, in this movie was very, very good. Acting aside, though, which really did surprise me, I want to talk about the tension, because the tension in this movie was fantastic. Now, I did go into this movie expecting a sort of jump scare fest. There was barely any jump scares, if any. Maybe one. Now, I've seen and heard people say that it's a jump scare fest. It's not. It's really not. I barely remember any. Okay? There was barely any jump scares. I absolutely loved the horror aspect to this movie because the tension it builds, and it builds it so well. The setup from the very get-go was fantastic. It builds this tension, it keeps the tension. I was very, very invested in the tension. I was sat there like, what's going to happen? I absolutely really loved the way that they built and used tension in this movie. It was very, very creepy. It was very, very dreary, very, very eerie, and there was barely any jump scares. Final positive to touch on, Nina Dobrev. She's so hot. She really, oh my god, if she was actually a doctor, I would be visiting that hospital weekly. Oh no, Nina, I've fallen. CPR? Oh, I'm sorry, I had to go there. She is fine. So guys, that is my positives said and done. Let's get into my negatives, because I do have a few with this movie. Now, like Blade Runner 2049, I was very, very invested in the first act of this movie, or the first half of this movie. It built this world up. It basically, the setup was so good. It really was. The tension it carried for the first half of the movie was flawless. It was fantastic. I loved it. Then comes a point, being maybe, it might have been halfway through, I don't quite remember, but it comes with the first death. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but it comes with the first death. After you see the first death, the film sort of starts to decline. That's where the decline took place for me, after the first death. And the film just starts becoming very, very choppy. Yeah, after that it became very choppy. I don't know what it was doing, but there's a scene where someone gets stabbed in the hand, and then the scene ends there. As soon as the knife hits his hand and he screams, scene ends. And it cuts to him and his friends. Oh fuck, I spoiled it, I said him. Shit! It cuts to crap! It's just, no, you don't know what happened! It became very, very choppy. It was terrible. Another negative I have with this movie is the potential that it didn't execute. Okay, so it had the potential of being very, very Final Destination-esque with the way that they had the hauntings, the things they could have done to the Flatliners. Could have been very, very cool, but they didn't really take it to places I wanted them to go. Like I said, it could have been a very, very cool Final Destination-esque imagery and stuff like that. They could have had it very Final Destination-esque, but they didn't really go anywhere with it. And I don't want to say too much without spoiling anything, but the ending felt very, very cheap. I mean, for me, it's a movie where I didn't want to see survivors. I didn't want to see survivors. So for me, the ending, again, had no payoff. It felt very, very cheap in the way that they ended it. And considering after the first death, it just became very lackluster. Just like Blade Runner, it hit a point halfway through the movie where it just declined and became very, very lackluster. Yeah. I don't want to say too much without spoiling anything. Another thing I'd like to mention is a little gripe, which is convenience. It's just the convenience. Because obviously the hauntings that take place are centered around the med students, the Flatliners' guilt of past sins and stuff. And what do you know? They've all done something very, very bad. And are feeling very, very guilty about it. It's very, very convenient that happens. I would have liked to at least have one med student that was like very, very goody-goody and hadn't done anything bad, and just seen what would have happened. Like, did they, when they come back from flatlining, like, did the hauntings be like, oh shit, no, like, nothing bad happened, and it's like a nice daydream or something. That would have been very, very cool to touch upon what happens if they don't feel guilt and they flatlined and they've come back. That would have been cool to go into. I would have liked to see maybe them touch on that. But yeah, Hollywood just throwing convenience at this movie. They all done something, and I mean they done something very bad. It was very, very convenient. And that's a small gripe I have with the movie, because it's not a negative. It like doesn't detract from the movie, but it has to be convenient, I guess. So it's just a small gripe. Hollywood, up your game, man. So overall, I really was enjoying this movie up until the first death, sort of halfway through the movie, somewhere around there. Specifically after the first death, it became very, very lackluster for me. I felt that it didn't go anywhere and didn't pay off because the ending was quite cheap. So for me, I'd recommend going and seeing it if you're looking for sort of a creepy film, I guess. But it's not one that you need to rush out to see. You could probably wait for it to come onto Netflix. Yeah, it just became, by the end, was very, very lackluster, very, very cheap. But like I said, it was a concept and still is a concept that very much intrigues me. So, yeah, here's waiting for another remake in 27 years. Yeah! Fuck me, how old I'll be like 50. Shit, bro! 50 or fuck me, I'll be closer to flatlining. So guys, have you seen Flatliners and what did you think about it? Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on the 2017 version, the 1990s version. Let me know all your thoughts on both Flatliners. Yeah, let me know all your thoughts. And like I said, I have shot my movie review of Blade Runner 2049, so that'll be linked here and in the description below. I've had unboxings. A very lovely subscriber, sent me a box of stuff that I unboxed, so that'll be linked here and in the description below. Go check that out, I'd really appreciate it. Yeah, I've got an announcement coming this, it might be, I'll try and put it up this weekend. I'm going to film it after this video, so yeah, hit subscribe, stay tuned for that. I can't wait to tell you the announcement, and hopefully that result in me meeting some of you. So that would be really cool. So hit subscribe, stay tuned for that. And guys, as always, thanks for watching and take care. See you later. Guess who's back again. Guys, a big thank you to watching the video. If you liked what you've seen and you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. And in the meantime, why not check out some of my other videos? You've got one here, you've got one there, and you've got one there. Guys, go check out those videos, hit subscribe, and see you in the next video.